fucking up like nobody's business. So, all right, what we've got here, and again, I know nobody's logged on right now, but I'll save this and post this video. I've got a knife here. I'll show you. Whole Instagram thing's at me all kerfuffled here. But I've got this knife, and it is a wrought iron sandmai, and what we've got is a wrought iron core, or a wrought iron jacket. So you can kind of see here that black line is the core. It's a high chrome steel core with a wrought iron jacket. I've never done this with wrought iron before, so this is kind of a fun experience. So I thought I'd take y'all along, and I was doing this over on Instagram, and they just kept poo-pooing out on me. So I've already got done one side. Now I'm finishing up the second side with 120 grit, which is the first grit that I go to for hand sanding. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep going on this, and you know, even if you're watching this and it's not live, if you got any questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat or in the comment section, and I'll respond to them and all that stuff. There's no secrets here. There's no secret knowledge here or anything like that. So if there's anything you want to know, please let me know, and I will share whatever knowledge I have. Let me move this trash can out of the way. It's preventing me from bringing you guys where I want you. There we go. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay. All right. So again, I'm on 120 grit using a flat bar. After I get done with this piece, I'm going to switch over to this one that's got a hard rubber backing, but it's got a little bit of a give to it when I sand. And it just helps me kind of blend in any lines and stuff like that. So got a bit of a cold, so sorry about the voice. But, all right. So I've got a few lines left kind of up here towards the tip. Just going to work those out with this last little bit. And again, this wrought iron really sands beautifully, so all my attention pretty much is just right on the high carbon edge, which doesn't have a whole lot peeking out. I wanted kind of the maximum amount of wrought iron in here, so okay, and always look at your steel from different angles. The lines and stuff will show up. I think we're good on that one. Let's go and switch to this now. All right, we got some people tuning in, so that's cool. All right, let me check the comments. I'm on my phone, and I've never really done this. No, that's not it. So I don't really know how to check any comments on my phone. I'm assuming they're going to pop up if you put a comment in there. So feel free to pop a comment in there, and I'll check it out when I can. All right, so again, using this kind of soft backer here. Hey, yeah, look, wow, we got some comments in there. Awesome. How we doing, guys? This one's like a hard rubber. It's kind of like a rubber floor mat that I glued on to a half-round file that's got all the stuff shaved off it. And this is kind of what I finish my blades with. So just going to do like a couple passes with this one. Just make sure everything's blended how I want it to blend. Again, if you want to see like a different angle or something, let me know. I can move the camera around. So what I'm doing is I'm hand sanding a blade that's got a wrought iron jacket and a high carbon steel core, often referred to as sandmai, which means 3 layers. And that's kind of a new experience for me. I've never really done this with wrought iron. I've used it to make decorative stuff before, but not in a knife. So I figured I'd take y'all along with me. Just finishing up with 120 grit right now. Making sure I get all the 80 grit lines and stuff off the flat. Everything else is looking good. A little spot right there that I want to get. All right. So what I do now is after I'm done going long ways, right, before I switch to the next grit, before I give it a quick dip in the acid, I go ahead and I go across the blade. Does a couple things. It continues to refine the sanding on the blade, get rid of any deeper scratch lines. But then now it gives me, when I switch up to 220, I know when I go long ways, I got to get rid of all those diagonal scratch lines, right? So I'm going to do that real quick. And I don't go crazy on it. I use pretty light pressure. So I'm not trying to do all diagonal lines right now. I'm just trying to put some in there as kind of guide marks. And you don't have to do diagonal. You can like do circles. You can do whatever the hell you want, really. Just something different when the next pattern you're going to be doing when you sand. You give yourself, again, some guidelines or some guides on when you're good. You got all those deeper marks out. All right, I think that should be about it. All right, let me show you what we got here real quick. All right, let me see here. Change the angle here. All right, what am I going to do on the handle? That's a really, really good question. I don't know yet. This is just kind of a test blade to see if I felt comfortable doing wrought iron sandmite type things, and so far so good. Like, I haven't got any delaminations on it, nothing. Everything looks good and solid. So here's where we're at right now. All right, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to do the spine and the choil. I think that's called the choil, finger choil, first, and then we're going to do a quick dip in the acid again. That again does a couple things. One, it kind of erodes the previous scratch lines. Not a whole lot because we're just doing a quick dip. But the real reason I do it is because then it also gives me more of a guide on what I need to sand. Like, if I miss a spot, it'll be dark or it'll be etched as opposed to when I hit it. So, all right, what do we got here? Other questions here. Can you make you a custom handle? I mean, I can make you a custom handle for a knife if you got a knife that needs a handle, bud. That's easy enough. I don't see any other questions or anything. I'm not sharpening a knife. I'm grinding a knife. I mean, it is kind of sharp right now. You can hear it. It will cut you, but I'm not sharpening it yet. All right, so I'm going to take you over here. All right, it's my little bench vise. So you guys can see what I'm doing. Again, I don't really film a whole lot, so this is kind of a new experience for me as well, so welcome. All right, so now again, 120 grit with my hard back, and I'm going to try to get you guys as close as I can. Take off all the etched bits. And that tells me when I've got all the scratch lines out from the previous grit that I had on the belt. And again, with this being wrought iron, there's always going to be little inclusions and stuff that you're going to come across when you sand. But that just kind of adds character to the blade. Structurally, it's fine. With that high carbon core, the wrought iron is pretty much just decoration. It adds a little bit of flexibility, but really, it's just decoration. All the strength is in that high carbon. So I'm going to kind of round off the spine just a little bit here. Not too much. There we go. Okay, like that. All right. Again, if you guys got any questions or anything, comments, anything you want to see, just let me know. Right, I'm going to do a little finger choil here. Yeah. And again, going to kind of round it off just a little bit. Try to get right in here. I see some scratch lines. I need to get a different file or something and get in there. I know it's not going to be the most exciting live stream, but it's an important part of making a custom knife. What the hell was that? Something just popped in my shop and I have no idea what the hell it was. All right. Sorry, just checking to make sure I'm not missing any of your guys' comments. I like interaction when I do these things. I tried to do it on Instagram this morning, but kept kicking me off. I've been trying to do more here on YouTube, so just got a little bit, one deep scratch line right there that I want to get out. I don't want to leave it there, so just gonna keep keep on keeping on until it goes bye-bye. Almost gone. You have to kind of be careful with the wrought iron on the outside. You can like over grind it, so I'm trying not to do that. But again, I don't want that scratch there. It's kind of pissing me off that it's not gone yet. Never get angry at the steel. Steel does what the steel does. All right. A little coffee break. All right. Again, for those that just joined or popped on, I noticed we got quite a few more. I'm just hand sanding I just lost my thought. Wrought iron sand mine knife. So I figured I'd bring you guys along and let you check it out. So we just dropped back down to 2. All right. People pop on and like, oh, shit's boring. I'm moving. All right. He's not giving anything away. I'm not going to watch. All right. F that guy. All right. Got it. Okay. So that's gone. Nice. All righty. So we've got that. Hand sand it up to 120 now on all sides. Okay. Looks nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it over here to the ferric chloride. We're going to give it a little dip. Actually, let me switch you on the other side here. All right, we're going to give a little dip in the ferric chloride, and I'll show you what that does, okay? So I've got my ferric chloride here. This is also ferric chloride, but they're pretty much the same. Just going to give a little dip. Let it hang out in there for a few seconds. Can you see me? There we go. And again, this just lets me check my grind lines, lets me make sure that high carbon is where I want it in the blade. And when I get to hand sanding the next grit, which is 220, it gives me something to look for, visual indicator that I've gotten rid of all the previous grind lines. So it's gonna do, like I said, about 30 seconds or so. Nothing too crazy, nothing too long. Oh wow, that's that is so freaking cool. All right, let me show you guys what I got. Look at that. Look at that wrought iron. How freaking sweet is that? That is absolutely gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Damn, that's cool, man. Holy crap. That is awesome. Like the more I've been grinding on this, like the cooler it's looking. All right, so this is baking soda and water. So just going to neutralize the acid that's on the blade. Wow, this is cool. Man, I might not want to get rid of this blade. I might want to keep this one. Nah, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell it. All right. Wow, that's neat, man. That is stinking. Let me get you in some better light here. You guys can see. You can see what I see. Now, Christmas is over. No more Christmas songs. All right. I'm going to wipe off here. I'm curious to see, normally I etch in gator piss. I'm curious to see if it reveals the wrought iron like this ferric chloride is. Can you guys see that? Let me get it in here. Hold on. Again, guys, I'm not great at filming stuff. There you go. So that wrought iron looks super, super cool. I don't think the camera does it justice. Wow, that's really neat. All right. Okay, so now we've got it here. Now we're going to jump up to 220. I'm guessing, or I'm planning on bringing this blade up to 400 grit, and that'll pretty much be it. I might just do 800 along the edge. I think that might look cool to have a little shinier edge than the flat, but man, that just looks cool. There you go. You can see it better there, yeah. Right? That just looks sweet. So All right, so I'm going to keep going. Again, if you guys have any questions about anything, if you want to see the shop or anything like that, please feel free, jump it in the comments, and I'll get to it. I can take a little break and show you around the shop and stuff like that. Let me grab my 220 grit here. Shouldn't need all this much, but just in case. Yeah, man, I'm happy with how this wrought iron is looking. That is super cool. Super, super cool. All right, so what I like to do now is I'm going to hit it with my sharpening rod. This is the coarse diamond rod that I get from DMT. Just going to knock any little, uh, man, I'm just having problems with words this morning, you know. Just knocking that little edge in. Sometimes you get a little burr. That's what I'm looking for, a burr. Sometimes you get a little burr when you're hand sanding, so I'm just trying to knock that off. I'm not really trying to sharpen it right now. That is how you slice your finger open. Just taking that burr off. Good. All right. Man, that's looking cool. All right. Let's keep rocking and rolling. All right. So again, if you guys have any comments or if you want to see something, have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Apologize about my voice and all the sniffling. I do got a cold right now. So let's see. I'm not missing anything. All right. No, I'm not seeing any new chats pop up. So I apologize if you have put something in there. I'm on the cell phone. But again, please throw a chat in there. Let me know this thing's still going. Oh, I'm blowing my nose. I apologize. Ugh. I know, not the sexiest live stream, but we're gonna keep rock and rolling with it. Okay, little Windex sprayed on the blade helps kind of lubricate the sandpaper. That's my theory, anyways. Some people do it, some people don't. All right, got your angle down. If you want to see a different angle, let me know. I can try to prop it up here or something, but it's about the best I can do. Get that out of the way. All right, here we go with 220 grit. Starting on the flat, basically on the wrought iron. And this wrought iron sands beautifully, so it does not take long to get these other scratch lines out. This wrought iron is super soft. And this is just an old file that I had, a cheap one. I think I got off of Amazon or something. And I just ground it flat, ground all the teeth off it. I've got one safe edge here and one actual live edge here, and then this is live. So this is what I use pretty much for all my hand sanding. Don't be afraid to modify tools you got in your shop. I am a firm believer, if you need a tool, make a tool. If you can't find it. Just about every file I have is modified in some way. Always watch where your fingers are, because this will get you. All right. So again, just using the acid etching and those cross-hatched grinding lines or sanding lines to tell me when I've gotten rid of all the 120 grit lines. So that's what it's all about. Normally this is much more enjoyable when you have music going, but thanks to YouTube and all the copyright crap, can't play any music. Okay, a quick little check. Still got some lines here. That's pretty much it for 120 on the flat. Again, this wrought iron, super soft, grinds really, really nice. Or sands really, really nice when I'm grinding. Okay. Use what's left of the sandpaper's grit to hit the edge real quick and my little tip. All right. Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments, make sure I haven't missed anybody. Y'all are being very quiet since that first flurry of comments. All right. So what I noticed, and it's going to be hard to see, the camera's not really going to pick it up, but there's a little divot right here that I thought I got it out during the 120 grit, but it's kind of shown back up. So I'm going to have to work that a little bit. That's a great thing with the acid etch, is that stayed darker as I sanded over top of it. So now I know that it's still there, and I need to work that out. So that's why I do the acid etch in between the sanding grits. Doesn't look like it's very deep. I think I got the majority of it out during the 120, but give it a little more attention here, and I'll get rid of it. Definitely don't want it to be on the finished blade. And any more comments? No? All right, y'all are just silently watching. All right. Hey, don't be afraid to ask questions or ask me to explain something. If I'm doing something that kind of confuses you or doesn't make sense. Everybody does this process their own way. Just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you in your shop. Okay, looking good. I can see a few lines up here towards the tip and here. So we're going to shift down that way. A little more cheap Windex. It is real Windex, or it's in the Windex bottle, but this is the cheap shit from Walmart. So don't have to buy the expensive stuff. This is going very, very smoothly. This is looking good. Really, really good. Last few knives I did were all stainless steel AEBL, and I think after tempering they're still like 61 or 60 Rockwell hardness, which is really hard. And I hand sanding them, even though they were small knives, took forever compared to this, which is going really, really quickly, obviously because of the wrought iron is the majority of the surface area that I'm having to grind or sand. So definitely a nice change of pace. Alright, I'm going to switch over now to my softer backed tool. Again, this just has a hard leather or hard rubber backing on it. It's just got a little bit of a give, so this helps blend in any of the lines to the edge. Helps kind of get into some different areas, like right here at the plunge line. I haven't seen any comments. Somebody go and throw something in the comments for me. Make sure that my feed isn't all jacked up if you could. Last comment I see is from Sports and More that says, "Can you Mac me a custom handle?" Somebody throw a comment in there for me. Make sure it's not jacked up. I don't want to miss any of y'all's comments if you're talking to me and I'm not seeing it. I guess if it is all jacked up, then I'm not going to see it anyways. Yeah, not seeing anything, so either y'all can't hear me or I'm not seeing the chats. Let's see. Is there a setting I can do? Chat filter. Oh, top messages. No, I want all messages. No, still nothing. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, again, if somebody can throw something in the chat for me. I'm sure the YouTube algorithm likes chats and all that stuff, so I would appreciate it. If not, it's okay. I'm just glad that it's showing I've got 22 folks on here. This is awesome. All right, so I'm pretty happy with where we're at here on 220 grit on this side. So now I'm going to go crossways on the blade, just like I did last time with the 120 grit. We'll go this way. Get in that plunge line area there really good. Using that waterfall clamping, which helps smooth out and round out your plunge line. Really, it's a little bit tricky when you're getting used to it, but it makes hand sanding that plunge line a hell of a lot easier. I'll tell you that. All right. Okay, so we're good with 220 grit on that side now. All right, well, let's see. Again, please feel free to put something in the chat here, guys. It makes it a lot more fun if I'm interacting with y'all as opposed to just blabbing on myself. All right, so here's the side we just finished. Okay, you can still see a little bit of, yeah, you can still see the separation between the wrought iron and the high carbon as opposed to the side we haven't finished that we dipped in the acid. We got a clear indicator of where that high carbon is versus the wrought iron. So we're going to go ahead and sand this side now. And my hand sanding mechanism is literally just a piece of wood covered with tape so I don't scratch the blade and a C-clamp. Super, super easy. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Chat filter, all messages. All right, so that's good. Okay, cool. All right. We shall soldier on, as they say. A little coffee break. Cheers. Again, for those that have just joined me, working on hand sanding a wrought iron sand my knife. Just a test blade that I was doing just to kind of do a proof of concept, make sure I was able to successfully forge weld wrought iron to high carbon steel. It can be a little tricky just because of the different composition of the metals. This blade has been finishing beautifully, went through heat treat with no issues at all, nothing tried to separate out or anything like that. So now we're hand sanding. We're at 220 grit on the second side, and we're going to take this up to 400 grit before we kind of finish etching the blade, and then we'll figure out the handle. We'll probably show that on a different live stream, but I'm curious if the gator piss will show all the detail in the wrought iron, or if it's too gentle and I should stick with the ferric chloride. I don't know. If anybody out there watching has done this before or anything like that, I'd be happy to hear your suggestions on the final etching process of what shows off the wrought iron the best. It really is some beautiful stuff. And this wrought iron came from a piece of anchor chain that I was told was made in 1902 in a dockyard, for a dockyard in Boston. That's what I was told. So it looks beautiful though. Really, really pretty stuff. Again, if anybody out there's got any questions or comments, want to talk about anything or throw anything out there, go for it. If you want me to show you the shop, I can. Not a whole lot to see, but you know, some people, if you're just starting out, you might want to see how other shops are made up or how they're put together. I know I did when I was first starting out. Okay, looking good. Always look at it from different angles because different lines will show up, different perspectives and stuff. And I tell you, ever since I had that Can You Mac Me a custom handle, no one else has commented. So I'm thinking the chat might be messed up. So again, if you're putting stuff out there in the chat and I'm not responding, this is why, because I am not seeing it. So I apologize if you're trying to talk to me and I'm not responding, but I can't see anything in the chat right now. At least, I don't know. Maybe no one's even put anything in the chat. I don't know. But I'm just going to keep on going. I will check the chat after I'm done with the live stream, and if there's something I missed or any questions, I will respond on there to you. Hopefully it shows up. All right. Shouldn't take much longer, and then we'll be able to, again, do another dip in the acid, and then go up to 400 grit. So, moving right along. The high carbon steel in here is 1084. I wanted to keep it pretty basic, because once you start adding like 80 CRV2 or some of these other steels that have different stuff in there, you know, the further away you get from natural wrought iron or wrought iron, by adding all the other elements, so in my mind, the less likely it's going to have a successful forge weld. So in my mind, keeping this to a straight high carbon steel where it's literally just iron and carbon added together, I think gave me the best chance of success here. And based off how this is looking, I think I was smart in that respect. If I had some 1075, I probably would have gone with that, just because it's a little lower carbon content. But 1084 is the lowest carbon content I had, so that is what I went with. Tension here on the plunge line. All right, let's take a look, see if we've got anything. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch to the rubber backing. All right. Just do a couple of passes with this guy. Do some long lines like this, then when you check it, you'll really be able to see any of other scratches from the lower grits. So this is looking good to me. I don't see any scratches or anything like that, so I'm going to go ahead and do cross the blade again. And again, everybody does their process a little bit different, so if you've seen another knife maker do something totally different, doing their hand sanding, hey, that's more power to them. If it works for them, awesome. I do the process that works for me, that I learned growing up in the knife making industry, so community. Really getting that plunge line there. And again, I'm not trying to take all the long lines out. I'm just trying to take a few of them out. All right. Now we got to do the spine and the finger choil. I'll move the camera over so you guys can see that. As you can see, here's where we're at right now. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move you over. I actually had a pretty good number of people log on to watch this, so that's pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. Wish you guys were putting more stuff in the chats, though. All right. I'm going to pop this in here. This time we're going to use the soft backing because I want to round this off just a little bit more. Oh, you probably want to watch this, not me. I'm still getting used to filming, guys. All right, just got it here in the vise. Anybody's got any recommendations on what you think would be cool for a handle on this little guy? You guys put that in the chat. That'd be cool. I have no plans with this one yet. This is just kind of a practice knife to see how it reacts to heat treating and hand sanding and all that stuff. I'm really liking how it's turning out, though. So I've got a bigger chunk of the billet that I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with it. Don't know if I want to do like a sword, maybe like something Navy themed, like a Navy cutlass I've done in the past, maybe a pirate cutlass or something. All right. I got a lot of that steel left over, so. All right. Now we're gonna do this little finger choil here. This little guy, I call it the finger choil. I don't know if that's the actual name for it, but it makes sense to me that that's what it would be called. Nothing, still nothing in the chat, huh? Let's see. Top messages. Anything different for top? No, same. It's all the same shit. All messages. Okay. Don't need community moderation. All right. Oh well. All right. So again, guys, if you're putting stuff in the chat, I'm not seeing it, so I apologize if you're trying to make recommendations on the handle. I'm just not seeing it here. So, all right, I'm gonna use a different file to get into that little spot right up here. This is the modified file. Again, I modify just about every file that I've got. So, I took a normal file, ground one side flat. Obviously thinned it out on one side. Helps me get into some little tighter spots. Don't be afraid to modify your tools into something you need. Alright, I think I'm happy with that. Okay. 220 grit is donezo. So now we're going to go back. Actually, I'm going to clean this off a little bit. Alright. So here's where we're at right now. We got 220 grit done hand sanding wise. And yes, hand sanding is dirty. I've got it all over my face too. So we're going to clean this off. We're going to do another little dip in the acid. And then we'll go up to 400 And that'll be the final grit. Now I think what I want to do is do 400 on the whole thing, and then just go back and do 800 just along the edge for the high carbon. I think that'll look cool in the etch. So I think it'll give it a little bit more of a shiny satin as opposed to like a flat satin. So, all right, let's go over to the acid again. Down here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. We're just going to dip this in. Again, we're going to do about 30 seconds or so. This is just ferric chloride. About a 4-to-1 mix. Ferric chloride to distilled water. It may have changed over the year. I've had this probably for 2 years, this batch. And I kind of add to it as I see it evaporate out. So sometimes I add more acid, sometimes I add more water. So yeah. Just gonna do about 30 seconds to a minute. I'm not trying to get super deep in the etch right now. I'm just trying to give it a good etch so that I can see where I'm grinding or sanding. I keep saying grinding. All right. Oh yeah, it's looking pretty. Heck yeah. It's really cool stuff. Again, this is the first time I've ever done wrought iron on a knife. So this is a new experience for me, so bringing you guys along with it. And let me show you what I'm looking at. That is freaking cool, man. The more I sand it and the higher grits, the cooler it's getting. So all those lines and striations and stuff, that's the natural, all the natural elements in the wrought iron. So that is cool, man. I actually ended up pretty even on my my edge there too. That's pretty good. Just kind of flew by the seat of my pants on this one. This is just baking soda and water. I think I need to add more baking soda in there. It's not really bubbling up like it should. All right. So now, go back over here, and we're going to do 400 grit. Okay. So you kind of see I always double up on the grits. So I start out with 120, then I go up to 220, and I go up to 400. So if you try to make too big of a jump, it just makes sanding really, really difficult and really long. So like if I was going to go from here 220 up to 800 straight off, it would take forever to get all those 220 grit scratch lines out. So I'm going to jump up to 400. Now actually before I do this, because this is going to be the final grit, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my my file guide on here, and I'm going to clean up these shoulders real quick because they got a little wonky for some reason. I did it before. For some reason, they've come off and they've gotten a little wonky, so I'm going to fix that real quick. And so file guide, what I've got is it's a carbide face, so super, super hard face on one side. You clamp the knife in it, if you can get it open. This one gets stuck a lot. I don't know why. So you clamp the knife in it and put this where your shoulders are going to be. So this is a hard surface. Like your files and stuff aren't going to mess that up. Put that where you want it, and then you grind down or file down to that point, and that'll give you good, even shoulders for when you or when we get ready to do the handle and the guard and stuff. So we're going to put that on there. What I also like to do, a little trick I learned, is, if I can find it, is I take a square, all right, and since this spine is pretty much straight, right, it's not like a curved spine or anything like that, I use this square to line up and make sure that my shoulders are perfectly square to my spine. Just going to be a little bit right there. That looks good. I'm going to hold this here so it doesn't move on me. Just going to tighten this down. Hey, what's up, Joshua? How you doing, man? Good. Finally, somebody commented. I've got proof that the comments actually do work. Okay, good. All right. All right, I think I like that. All right. So again, what I did was in my vise, I took my square here and I put it on the spine and matched it up with that. So now I know that these shoulders are going to be perfectly 90 degrees to the spine. Want to make a knife through a rebar? Well, rebar is not great steel, so you'd want to have a cutting edge in there. So like if you wanted to do rebar as the outer jacket, and then like a high carbon cutting edge, that would work. I've seen people do that before. But rebar in and of itself isn't the greatest of steel, so I don't know if I would suggest doing that, but go for it, man. I mean, do what you want to do, you know? I mean, I've made knives out of railroad spikes and stuff because they're, you know, people like them, they collect them and shit. So, all right, so now what we're going to do is just going to file this down until I hit my carbide, and you'll definitely tell when it hits the carbide because it'll stop cutting and it'll just skate like right across like that, okay? So I can kind of tell that I'm getting close to hitting that, right? I just want to get right into this little spot here. And actually, I'll come in with a round file, the small round file, and do it too. Let's go ahead and get this side. So you can definitely tell it's hitting that carbide face, right? You hear that? Definitely a big difference. Okay, so I'm just going to go in with a 1/8" round file. I'm just going to round off where the tang meets the blade, just so there aren't any sharp corners in there. Now, a lot of people will go in and they'll file in all along the face of the tang. I've tried that. I've never had good luck with it. Even with the file guide and stuff, I always end up jacking it up, so I'm not going to do that on this one. Make sure that's nice and even. Well, you can go in here with it, and if you can still catch on it, that means you're still a little high on one side. And I can feel it, so. What we got here, I got a whole bunch of them since I live right on a railroad track. Yeah, I mean, they're fun to practice on, right? Like, that's kind of what I did when I first started making knives, is I would find whatever steel I could find, get my hands on, and I would practice making a knife out of it, whether it was good steel or not. You know, you learn how steel moves and stuff like that. But, you know, even today, people still, every now and then, order a railroad spike knife from me, and I just got to tell them, hey, I'll make it for you, but it's not good steel. Like, it'll be a good letter opener, and it'll cut stuff a few times, but it's not like a good high carbon steel. But if you can get them, then yeah, practice on them. I mean, people will buy them, guarantee you. People will buy them $100 a piece, $200 a piece, easy. People love that shit. And you can make money doing it, and you're learning, awesome. All right, I think I'm happy with where we're at there. A little bit more. The reason I do this now is because I don't want to accidentally scratch up the blade after I get it sanded to the 400 grit that I'm going for. So I'll do this now. It's still catching there. Still got a little spot there that it's hitting, but it's looking pretty good to me. Go back in with the flat. All right, good. Okay. Oh, so did you. All right, so I'm happy with that. So now we, excuse me. So you can see, nice and flat, squared off. 45-degree angle from the spine. That's what I want. I'm going to take this off. All right. And a lot of people watching this. That's actually awesome. Pretty happy about that. All right, so that looks nice and clean. It's got a nice little rounded edge there. Okay, that looks really good. So happy with where we're at there. So let's go ahead, since we've got this out right here, we're going to do 400 on the spine. I like to use Rhino Wet from Red Label Abrasives. They're not a sponsor or anything. I wish they were, but it's good sandpaper. It seems to last longer than a lot of the other stuff. All right, little spritz. Go in here again. This is just the hard rubber backed modified round file. Again, modified. Got all the teeth off of it. Glued a hard rubber. It's like a floor mat for a workshop. And just glued on there, and it just gives me a little bit of a give. So I'm trying to blend in lines or round things off. So this is where we're getting really into the polishing grits now. 220 is kind of that intermediary grit where you're still able to kind of make some changes to your design, but you're getting close to not taking a whole lot off. 400 is just straight polishing. You're not going to change a bevel line. You're not going to change a plunge line or anything like that. You're simply polishing what is there. So that's why it's important to get your blade exactly where you want it using your belt grinder or some lower grits on the hand sanding, 80, 120, whatever you got, before you get to the polishing steps. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and try it yourself, and then go for it. I'm not trying to say I know everything or what I tell you is like the gospel truth, but I know a thing or two because I've done a thing or two. But hey, find out for yourself, Experience is the best instructor. That's what I tell my cadets when I was a ROTC instructor. It is true no matter what you're doing. Experience is the best instructor, and pain is the best teacher. I tell my son that all the time. I don't think he listens. You can tell a child that a stove is hot, but until they touch it, they're not going to believe you. Get all those cross grind lines out or sanding lines out. All right, looks good. All right, time to go back to the flats. Yawn around this way. Again, if you guys want to see something or have any questions about anything, just let me know. I'm kind of showing you what I think people want to see, Let's see. Hey, my pleasure, man. I still Andy Forge. What is Andy Forge? I don't know what that means, my man. But I appreciate it. All right. Put this up here. All right. That back there. All right, last grit for the main part of the blade here. Cool thing with this rod iron is like the more you hand sand it or grind on it, the more stuff you're gonna see. Like these little inclusions keep popping up and then going away and this and that. So they heat up the steel. Yeah, I forge too. I've got my own forge here in the shop. I don't know what you mean by Andy Forge. Switch. And this step, I mean, as long as you do the other steps right, and you get all those lines out and everything like that, this last grit should go pretty darn quick. If you miss some of the lower grit grind lines and stuff like that, then you're going to get stuck trying to remove like an 80 grit line or a 120 grit line with a with some 400 grit sandpaper, and that takes a damn long time. So it pays in the long run to take your time when you're switching grits. And make sure you get all those lower grits out before switching up. Trust me, I've wasted a lot of time trying to get like an 80 grit line out with a higher grit sandpaper. It takes forever. They heat up the steel. That's what I was trying to say. You can't call this pizza? No idea what you're talking about. You can't call this pizza. The chat's getting weird, folks. The chat is getting weird. Oh, the dogs are out. Hi, dog. Hi, dogs. What are you guys doing? Huh? Yeah, hi, pup. I'm talking about pizza now and all sorts of shit. Johnny, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. You can't call this pizza. I don't know. You threw me for a loop there, Johnny. All right, let's switch over to the softer back. Now my dogs are barking. I hope you're happy. Now the dogs are barking. They always bark. It's okay. All right. Let's make sure I don't miss any of your guys' comments here, as weird as they're becoming. All right, so it's really important once you get to the point where you feel like you've gotten all the lines out from the previous grits, now you got to start doing long, even strokes. I got a little line here. Fix that real quick. But then you do long, even strokes. So you want all those lines going in the same direction. You don't want any J's, hooks, weird wiggles, or any of that stuff. Now, we are acid etching this, so a lot of those will go away. You won't really see any of the grind lines on here, the hand sanding lines, but especially if you're doing something like, just like a satin finish, like on a kitchen knife or something like that, Damascus, something that's going to be, polished and stuff. You want to get all those hand sanding lines going in the same direction. So just real slow, even pressure. Just like that. And that is looking good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and grab a piece of 800 grit. And I'm just going to focus on the edge with this one. Just going to bring that edge up a little bit. Just putting the pressure to the point where the high carbon steel is. So I want to give that a little more of a polish than the wrought iron. And I honestly don't know if we're going to be able to tell any difference when we acid etch this. But in my mind, it's going to look cool. And that's all that matters, is what I think it's going to look like in my mind. You know what I mean? So, all right. All right. Happy with that. Let's go ahead and we'll flip her on over. Make sure you get all the gunk off of here because you don't want this to be scratched on this side when we're hand sanding this other side. Sometimes I'll put like if it's Damascus, I'll put a cloth down. All right, back to the 400. This. Did I miss anything? Nope. Okay, sure didn't. What are you doing back there, dog? Hancock, you want to be in the video? Huh? People like dogs. There's Layla. There's the other one. These are my two monsters. Nuck and Futz. Click, clack, and ding dong. All right, go on. Just slobbered on me. All right. just about there. For those of you still watching. Again, if you have any new watchers here, new people tuning in, just finishing up hand sanding this wrought iron sand my blade. It's got the wrought iron on the outside. It's kind of the first time I've ever done a knife like this with the wrought iron on the outside, so thought I'd bring you all along with me to show you the process that I go by to get this stuff done, to finish it. Switch to this one now. New piece. Alright. Oh, this is just my garage, man. This is my workshop. This ain't a house. And trust me, it may look big on camera, but I wish it was double the size. And just gonna finish up again with the long, even strokes. That's what she said. And all these hand sanding lines going in the right direction. Don't want any hooks or anything like that. Okay. All right, now we'll grab that 800 piece again. And again, I'm just going to do right along the high carbon edge. Just giving it a little bit more of a polish than the wrought iron. Because why not? In my mind, it sounds like it'll work. Alright. Did I miss anybody's? Nope, nothing. Okay. Alright. We are happy with that. Check out the other side, make sure I don't have any weird scratch lines or anything from the tape. No, looks good. Okay, so what we're going to do now we've got a conundrum. I got to figure out, do I want to just etch this in the ferric chloride, which up to this point has been working really well, showing off that wrought iron, or do I want to try the gator piss, which is what I normally use for my Damascus, which I really like the finish that it leaves on blades. So you can see there's little inclusions, what I was talking about, that pop up when you sand and grind wrought iron. But again, just adds to the look of the wrought iron. It's really, really cool. So, all right, oh yeah, I'm gonna run this across a couple of my sharpening rods just to get the edge a little closer to where I want it to be. I don't go super, super sharp, but I want to get a decent edge on it right now, so that when I do put the final edge on it, I don't have like a really big line that's not etched. All right, so I'm going to just take a few minutes. This is the fine diamond grit honing rod. And this just takes a lot of practice, knowing what angle you want your knives at. There's a lot of jigs and stuff you can use. I just go by feel. So you guys see what I'm doing here? I guess that might make more sense. Yes, he is a big dog. He's about 215 pounds. Don't ask me what that is in kilograms, because I don't know. Again, for anybody watching, if you have any questions or anything like that, or something you want to see around the shop, This bad boy is getting ready to go into acid, so I will have some time to show you around or answer questions if you want. Engagements are always appreciated, especially as I try to grow this channel a bit. A lot of this is by feel too. I can kind of feel when this rod has done its job, because the blade will just start to skirt off of it. Basically means it's not getting any sharper. And I just run my hand down it, make sure I don't feel any blunt spots. And then we'll go up to the fine ceramic rod, and this is where we'll leave it. I've got one more rod that I use, was like an ultra fine. So this is where we'll leave it before we go into the etching process. You kind of feel it catching when it hits a spot that's a little dull for where it's trying to take it. So again, that's how you kind of know. Got a little more work to do. And I always rotate the rod as I do this, so I'm not just wearing down one spot on the rod. What you're looking for is an even polished line all the way down your blade. No bigger spots, no smaller spots. Nice even line. You can see it in the light. Probably can't see it on the camera, I'm sure, but just putting even pressure on. I'm not putting a ton of pressure on it. You can always, just do little spots too. If you feel a spot that's really catching or that feels dull, you don't have to do the whole length of the blade. You can just do one little spot, like at the tip or whatever. Nothing wrong with that. All right. So that's feeling nice. That's where I want it. Okay. All right, so now I've got a decision to make. It's how I want to etch this thing. My gut tells me to go with ferric chloride because that's what I've been getting good results with. But I'm curious about the gator piss. So that is the decision I'm gonna have to make. I'm gonna put my jacket back on because it's getting a little chilly in here right now. What do you guys think? Somebody, if anybody in the watching right now has any experience with etching wrought iron, especially a wrought iron blade, and wants to throw something in the comments there, maybe some suggestions, go for it. I'm all ears. But I don't know. Ferric chloride I think would be faster. Might give me a deeper etch, but I think I might like the gator piss and how that finishes up. Decisions. What's up, pup? What's up, big dog? Yes, if you guys want to know how big he is, this is him standing. He comes up to about my stomach. So, he's a good boy. It's a good dog, aren't ya? What's up? What's up, big guy? You guys want to go inside? All right, y'all. I'll be right back. I'm going to go let the dogs in. Go on. Let's go. Come on. Go inside. Hey, why are you laying in the dirt and mud, you weirdo? All right, so here's what we got. Let's see here. I mean, a lot of people are liking or doing some sort of emoji in here, so that's cool. Okay. We're going to try the gator piss, and we're going to see how that goes. So let's go get that set up. Show you how this works. And this gator piss comes from Baker Tool and Forge. Does some really awesome stuff with Damascus. And this is some really good stuff. So gator piss, it's not pickled juice. Kind of looks like it. And then this is just baking soda and water to dip the blade in when it's done. So we'll get this. This is a little cold, but I think it's warmed up enough. It should work. Probably about time I switch out this gator piss, though. I haven't switched it out. All right, so what we got to do, all right, we got to go over here. We've got to degrease the blade. So I got a clean paper towel, and I got some heavy-duty degreaser. Just going to spray it on the blade here. Kind of let it soak in for a second. Okay. And we're just going to rub the blade until it comes out clean. Okay, see it's kind of black right there. I don't really care about the tang because the tang's going to be hidden. All right. Let's really give that a good, let's see. Oh, gator piss. I wouldn't give a better edge. No, I don't go super sharp before acid etching because the acid will just eat it away anyways. All right, so it's nice and clean, okay? So now what we're gonna do, bring you on over here. Do a little wider shot here. All right, so we are now going to, this is distilled water. Okay, we got distilled water right here. Just gonna wet it. Rinse off any residue. It's important that it's distilled water. And I'm just going to put it in here, and I'm going to get some clamps. We'll clamp it in. And this usually takes about 20 minutes, a few cycles of 20 minutes to really show what it's going to do. So probably won't show you the whole process because this is already getting to be a long live stream. We're just going to kind of clamp that there. Make sure it's not touching the bottom. All right, and then I'm going to check it every few minutes to see how it's looking. I don't want to see any streaks on the blade. I want it to be a nice, even etch. It's kind of peek through the glass. I can already see it working, right? It's looking pretty cool. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see it, but so we're going to see. I'm curious to see what this does with the wrought iron. So I think this is where we're going to end it. And go ahead and check out, you can check out NagelHaus Forge on Instagram, Facebook, or X. All right, I'm trying to do a bunch more over on X because they're not throttling us knife makers like Meta is. So go give me a follow on X, NagelHaus Forge, same spelling here as on YouTube. And I'll post pictures later today when this is done acid etching and show you where we ended up. So appreciate everybody showing up and hanging out with me this morning. Here on YouTube. It was kind of just kind of a seat of the pants sort of thing. But hey, this was kind of fun. So look forward to me doing some more of this stuff here as I go along with some different projects that I've got in the works. I've got a really cool Damascus spear I'm going to be working on. I've got a couple swords in line. I've got a Viking axe in the works. So yeah. So again, appreciate everybody. Everybody have a safe and happy New Year, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.